السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نحمد الله ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the 5th episode of our series, The Saviors of Islam, where we are diving into the great personalities throughout the history of Islam that have left a mark and a legacy all throughout the world. Today we'll be speaking about and diving into a personality, an individual that taught the world how to truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to fall in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to drown and immerse ourselves within the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any conditions, how to be a true saint of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, in this time and age, when we think of a saint, a person that has immersed himself or herself in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we think of a person who is living in a desert, covered with a shawl, with a big long beard and dirt on his clothes. This is the perception that we have within our minds. But this is the person that broke all of these perceptions, that taught the world that there's not a specific figure that you have to be like to truly be in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just the actual quality and the actual love that has to be within your heart to earn that level of sainthood, to earn that level of wilayah, to earn that level of having true love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within your heart. And this person, my dear brothers and sisters, is one of my favorite personalities in the history of Islam, and she is none other than Rabia Basriyya rahimahullah ta'ala.
دع الأيام تفعل ما تشاء وطب نفسا إذا حكم القضاء ولا تجزع لحادثة الليالي فما لحوادث الدنيا بقاء.
Who was Rabia Basriyya rahimahullah? So her actual name was Rabia al-Adawiyya because she was from the tribe of Adi. So hence her name was Rabia al-Adawiyya rahimahullah. But because she was born in the city of Basra, her nisbah and her name was attached to the city of Basra, like Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah ta'ala. Her name Rabia was given according to different mu'arrikhin and people and historians, such as Imam Asfahani rahimahullah and Ibn Jawzi rahimahullah, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah writes about her. And they say that her name Rabia was because she was the fourth daughter of that family. And she was the fourth daughter, which the word comes from Arba'a, so she was named Rabia. And her name Adawiyya was because of her tribe, and Al-Basriyya, which she is known by today, was because of the city that she was born in. Who was this lady? You know, today we speak about her, and we're having an episode about her. And really when we read about her, we find that she did not have the traits, the physical traits of a person that was supposed to be famous. She did not have the beauty of the world. She was barren. She was not able to give birth to children. She was born in one of the most poorest families of Basra, to that extent that she became a slave at one point in her life. So why do we speak about her? It's not her beauty. It wasn't her wealth. It wasn't the fact that she was born in a great family. What is making us speak about her after so many hundreds and hundreds of years? My dear brothers and sisters, it was because she was a reviver of this concept of how to love Allah, how to make it the focus of our life, that Allah's love must be in our hearts. One day, people saw her running in the streets of Basra, and she had a bucket of water in her hand, and she was throwing the water and splashing it in different places. And they would look at her and say, "Oh Rabia, you've gone mad. What are you doing?" And she would reply and say that I'm taking this bucket of water and I'm throwing it around, thinking to myself that how I wish Allah takes the water of the world and He removes the fire of Jahannam, and He removes the paradise of Jannah and the gardens of Jannah, and there is no Jannah to hope for, and there is no Jahannam to be afraid of, there is no Jannah to yearn, and there is no Jahannam to be scared of, but all there is the love of Allah. And people worship Him just because they love Allah, not worshipping Allah because we want Jannah, which is okay. It's okay to worship Allah. It's okay to do a'mal salihah with Jannah in our mind. But she created that concept that I am worshipping Allah just because I want to love Allah. And hence this is written about her, that when she was taken to her grave, her disciple, her student, who she was a mentor of, she states that I saw a dream that when she was taken to her grave, and the doors of Jannah and the windows of Jannah were opened upon her. She said, I don't want this. Give me my prayer rug so I can please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just want to make my Allah happy. There is no other objective in my life. On the day of judgment, when she will be directed towards Jannah, she once again will say, Ya Allah, I just want to pray 2 raka'ah. I want to keep my head in sajda. This is why it said about her. Now Asfahani rahimahullah writes about her that when she was married early on in her life, she would go to her husband before he would go to sleep, and she would ask him, do you have any need towards me? And if he would say no, she would then say, can I please have your permission to go pray a few raka'ah? A few raka'ah. And the husband says that she would go pray, and I would sit there and look at her. And all night she would be in sajda crying, standing and praying long raka'ats to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was the only goal that she had in mind within herself. Her husband passed away while she was still a very young woman. So Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah came to her and proposed to her himself. Hassan al-Basri had a great level of respect for this woman. They say about Hassan al-Basri that he would not start a halaqah of ilm and knowledge until Rabia Basriyya came and sat down, out of love and respect for her. So one day he comes to her and she says, oh Rabia, your husband has passed away, and can I marry you? And this marriage was not because of any attraction of the world. This was just because she loved Allah and he also wanted that love. She says, oh Hassan, if you can answer these questions for me, then I'll marry you. I have no objection. He says, go ahead, ask me. What are the questions that the women and the men of the world ask? What is your degree? How much are you earning? What's your car like? What's your house like? What's your goal? Rabia asks Hassan, oh Hassan, do tell me that when I am placed inside of the grave 6 feet under the ground, and when Munkar and Nakir come to me and ask me, Man Rabbuk, wa ma dinuk, wa man hadhihi nabi, wa man hadha nabi, will I be able to answer it correctly? Hassan al-Basri says, you know what? I can't tell you that. That's not in my knowledge. She says, okay, maybe you can answer the next question for me. So what's your next question? Oh Hassan, do tell me that on the day of judgment, when everyone will be separated, and people will be given their books of deeds in their right hands and their left hands. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ فَيَقُولُ هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِالشِّمَالِ فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُوتَ كِتَابِيَهْ. When the people of that receive the book of deeds in their right hands, they will be lost in joy and happiness. Like a person receives their exam results and they got an A+, they're so excited. And those that receive it in their left hand, they will say, oh, how I wish I never received my results. She said, on that day, will I receive my book of deeds in my right hand? He says, oh Rabbi, I can't tell you that. She says, perhaps you can tell me the answer of the next question. She says, go ahead. She said, on the day of judgment, when everyone will be crossing the bridge of Full Sarat and entering into Jannah, some will fall because of their sins. Do tell me, will I cross that bridge with ease and success? Or will I fall into Jahannam? My dear brothers and sisters, this was a woman that had dedicated her entire life to the ibadah in the worship of Allah, to sajdas and tears, to raka'ahs in worship. But yet she is afraid. She is afraid if on the day of judgment she will be given Jannah. She is afraid if she will be able to receive the book of deeds in her right hand. And today, many of us, men and women alike, feel that just because the little that we do, we have received enough of the akhirah. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Allah says, do not boast yourself. Do not boast yourself. Yes, it's good to feel good about good deeds. That's a sign of Iman. But don't feel like I've done enough. Don't feel like we've done enough to receive the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Hassan al-Basri replies to her and says, oh Rabia, I cannot answer that question. She then says to him, oh Hassan, if you are not able to help me with these matters, I have absolutely no desire in being with you, because you cannot help me in the akhirah. من كان يريد حرث الدنيا نؤته منها ومن كان يريد الآخرة نزد له في حرثه. Allah says, whoever wants dunya, I will give it to them. ألا إن الدنيا عرض حاضر يأكل منه البر والفاجر. You will get it, don't worry. But whoever wants the akhirah, I will give them more. They will receive more back in return from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this time, in this world, we find it so hard to do good because there's so much evil happening around us. So it's so easy to do evil because it's all around us. We're surrounded by it. بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود غريبا فطوبى للغرباء. You know, when we think of Rabia Basriyya, many a times we can't even fathom the amount of sacrifices she made, because like, how did she even do that? How is it even possible for her to do that? You know, on one journey when she was going for Hajj, she purchased a very weak donkey, feeble donkey. And she takes this donkey, and while traveling to Hajj, the donkey dies. And many people in the caravan come to her and say to her, hey, oh Rabia, come with us, we'll help you. She says, no, I don't need your help. And she turns towards Allah. These are people of Allah. Allah loved them. You know, a person asked the Prophet, some Sahaba asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, tell me the process and the method that people can love me and Allah can love me. And the Prophet told him, Izhad fi dunya yuhibbuka an-nas, wazhad fima 'inda an-nas yuhibbuka Allah. That be abstinent and renounce the world, Allah will love you. And be abstinent and stay away from that which people love, people will love you. And that's exactly what happened to her. She said, don't worry, leave me alone. And she turns towards Allah. She says, Ya Allah, what a master you are. What a master you are. What a owner you are. I'm your slave and I'm trying to go to worship you. And my donkey is dead. What a master you are. This is not right. And the historians say, Imam Asfahani, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah say, Allah gave the donkey life once again. These are the miracles of these people. One day when she was extremely sick, Imam Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah, who was a muhaddith of his time and a great personality in his own right, he comes to visit her. And he comes to her and he looks at her state and he says, Oh Rabi'ah, Salillah an yashfi'ak. Ask Allah to give you cure. Ask Allah, Allah will cure you. She looks back at him and she says, Oh Sufyan, I thought you were an intelligent man. She says that I thought you were an intelligent man. She says, why so? Because why should I ask Allah to give me cure whilst He is happy with me in this state? Allah wants me to be sick at this point, and at this point in my life, I am happy with whatever Allah wants from me. She was saved. When people would ask her, Oh Rabia, you're living, it was the source of her renouncing and abstaining from the world was the deep level of love and attachment she had for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It became easy for her. She would say, when kings would come to her, ministers and wuzara, say, yeah, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. Everyone loved Rabia. She would turn them away and she would say that if I am shy to ask that Allah, if I am shy to ask that Lord who owns the entire world for the world, why in the world should I ask you who don't even own any portion of the world? لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah owns the world, but I don't ask Him for any portion of the world. So she was the one that introduced this concept of learning how to truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in rectifying one's nafs. And this all begins when a person realizes, men and women alike, we are not strong just because we are working 9 hours a day. That's not a standard that we live by. We are not strong just because we earn a living. We are not strong just because we have families. Strength is based upon how long we can stand in the middle of the night in front of Allah. Strength is based upon how much we can cry in front of Allah. Strength is based upon how much we can cry for the ummah, and not only for ourselves, and how much we can control our desires in our nafs. That's a strong person who his desire wants him or her to do something which is not halal. And that desire, that nafs is pushing him and motivating him or her to do haram. But we are able to control that nafs. That is called strength. That is called power. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. She was the manifestation of these ayahs, that if a person learns how to control their nafs and how to own their nafs by the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will indeed be successful in this world and in the next world. Let us not fall back and become demotivated by seeing others in the world succeeding and not loving Allah correctly. It happens many a times. People ask that these are non-Muslims, or they don't believe in Allah, they don't pray salat, but they're still getting good grades, and they're still going to university, they're still going to medical school, and they still have good jobs. Allah says, وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا. Allah says, do not think that we have let these people continue benefiting from the bounties of the world because it's good for them, because I want good for them. Allah says, no, إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا. We have let them be without worshipping me and living in this world with continuous transgressions, just so they can dig their ditch a little deeper. And I can give them the consequence and the effect of those deeds in the hereafter. وَلَهُ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. And they will have a very humiliating punishment on the day of judgment. Let it not become difficult for us to do good and difficult for us to stop ourselves from doing haram just because others are doing it also. But rather, let's become that lantern of light within our communities, within America, within Canada, within all the countries of the world. Imagine if I can become a portion of Rabia Basriyya within my family, within my community. If I'm the one that is crying at night, if I'm the one that is praying at night, don't think someone else is doing it for us. Women and men alike, we all have the strength to do it ourselves. Just if we understand the concept that if we have the love of Allah, then everything is ours. And if we don't have Allah, nothing is ours. And this was a concept that the Prophet ﷺ taught to even children like Ibn Abbas. وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُ النَّاسَ أَن يَنْفَعُكَ بِشَيْءٍ. That if everyone gathers together to help you with one thing, to benefit you, لَمْ يَنْفَعُكَ. They will not be able to benefit you with anything. And similarly, they will not be able to harm you in any way because you have Allah with you. And this is the level of wilayat that we hear about. But normal people have it. Normal people can be walis because their internal love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's not a perception that you have to be like this to be a wali of Allah, to be a friend of Allah. Normal people can be walis of Allah if they can feel the love of Allah in their hearts and fill their days and their lives and their nights with those a'mal that show that we truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. تعصي الإله وأن تظهر حبه وهذا لعمري في الفعال بديع لو كان حبك صادقا لأطعت إن المحب لمن يحب مطيع. Imam Shafi rahimahullah says that just by saying we love Allah doesn't truly mean that we love Allah. He says we continue to transgress the orders of Allah while paying lip service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in reality, this is very strange. Why is it strange? Because if our love was true to Allah, لو كان حبك صادقا لأطعته إن المحب لمن يحب مطيع. Because indeed a lover is always obedient to the beloved, always obedient to the wishes of the beloved. So let ourselves and let our nafs and our souls and our hearts be filled with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what better time to start this in the month of Ramadan, where we can control our nafs with more ease and let ourselves understand that these were people that truly taught us how to love Allah. We can give them names like mystics and Sufis, but they were normal people. But they were normal people that changed the scope of ibadah by learning how to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the true love in our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us taste the sweetness of His love. A person that tastes the sweetness of a drink or of a fruit, he always wants that fruit back. If we are able to taste the sweetness of the love of Allah just one time, just one night, if we can taste the sweetness of Allah, we're always going to want it again and again and again because we've tasted that sweetness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me a tawfiq to act upon this and all of you, and give us the ability to convey it to everyone in our families, in our communities. Wa akhu da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.